You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey, Y&R fans, Belinda from Soap Dirt here, and we have got some more spoilers for next week on the CBS soap opera. You will get from me, as usual, full weekly spoilers on Saturday, 2-week spoilers later in the weekend. And right now, though, what I've got for you is 3 huge scenes that are coming next week to Y&R. And hey, if you haven't, please click subscribe so you don't miss any of our updates, spoilers, and news. Now, let's dig into some of the big action happening next week on Young and the Restless. So number 1, we got like 3 scenes to talk about. So first off, we've got, more back and forth corporate hijinks. I don't always enjoy when Y&R goes heavy on business because it feels like I'm stuck in an office rather than sitting watching a soap opera, looking for drama and romance and not work stuff. So we have scenes with Devon Hamilton and Billy Abbott next week, and then in walks Mishael Morgan as Amanda Sinclair. She is back. I thought she was going to be back for like another week or so, like towards the end of sweep. So this is exciting. So already this week on the CBS soap, Billy Abbott brought up adding to the Chancellor Winters name, supplementing it with Abbott. He talked to Devon about, and Nate, I think was in the room, something calling it like Abbott Chancellor Winters, abbreviating it ACW. Considering that both of those names are family names of Devon's, I don't think he's too keen on a name change, and especially not of Abbott being out front. And of course, Devon's cousin Nate Hastings is taking his side against Billy Boy. So in this scene next week, Devon is kind of smirking to Billy and says, "I'm so sorry to tell you we are going to be keeping the name Chancellor Winters as is." And then Amanda waltzes in, looks at her cheating ex and says, "Well, Jill will be very sorry to hear that." You may recall Devon and Nate discussed Billy's name change request, and they asserted and assumed that Billy is the only one that wants it. They think he hadn't talked to Jill, that he went around Jill and came to them and was just trying to push through this name change to feed his own ego. Looks like they were wrong because either Billy called in Amanda, who is, a friend of his, or he called his mom and his mom called in Amanda. Either way, Miss Jill Abbott is involved, and that means I think we're going to be seeing a name change. We'll find out. And it was funny because Devon basically was like, "Oh, then we have to change the logo and the stationery." It's like, who uses stationery? It's 2024, and we can put up a new logo on the website, today. So, all right. So the second big scene to talk about has to do with Ashley Abbott. So next week, Ashley is continuing on her downward mental spiral. Unless somebody is drugging her, and we've seen no signs of that, then this looks like a for real nervous breakdown that she is suffering. I definitely feel like Tucker McCall is a contributing factor to this mental decline. It seems like he was telling the truth about Paris, but that doesn't mean he's still not playing mind games with his ex-wife. The only other thing I can figure out is if he bought the entire restaurant, and that's why they're staying loyal, but I just don't see that. So in this scene from next week, we have Ashley sitting at home at the Abbott mansion all alone on the sofa. She's freaking out. There's voices in her head, and we hear them. They're whispering, "I'm worried, I'm worried, I'm worried." And Ashley is basically yanking at her hair, kind of slapping herself in the head, saying, "Shut up, shut up." So yeah, voices in her head. It seems like Ashley probably needs a mental health timeout somewhere safe, like Fairview Sanitarium. We have seen plenty of Genoa City's best and brightest spend time there, Sharon Newman has been in there. Sheila Carter's nutty daughter, Daisy Carter Callahan, spent some quality time in Fairview. Crazy Patty Williams has been in there. And, I also think Phyllis Summers was there for a hot minute, but I think she was doing it to avoid some criminal charges. There was some kind of legal thing about it. So I feel like Jack and Tracy need to look into getting their sister some help. And I still wonder if Tucker might ditch Audra and come running if Ashley's condition deteriorates. I can't see him staying away. I know he still loves her. I don't think he wants her crazy. Like, I think he wants her missing him and kind of miserable without him, but I don't know if he wants her, in a straitjacket in a rubber room, but I guess we will see. All right, third and last. So this week on Young and the Restless, we had a spoiler saying Jordan finds a new way to get to Nikki, and we find out a lot more about it next week, the week of the 19th through the 23rd, the third week of February sweeps. So, of course, Nikki has been, playing little verbal games with Jordan as they make phone calls to each other. And Nikki basically says, just come out to the ranch. Come get me. But Jordan knows better because Victor has a whole security team on the property and he has Nikki on lockdown. She's grounded and she's annoyed because there's no booze in the house. So we saw this week that the new way Jordan has to get to Nikki is by using Seth, Nikki's former AA sponsor, who has now fallen off the wagon and is slowly circling the drain. He was so drunk at that empty glass dive bar, he didn't realize that Jordan was manipulating him into contacting Nikki. Next week, we're going to see the fruits of that phone call that he makes to her. And it goes something like this. Nikki tells Seth, I'll tell the security guard that I'm expecting you. And Jordan asks Seth, where are you meeting her? And Seth says, at the Newman Ranch. And Jordan is doing her villainous leer. And she says, oh, well, this just keeps getting better and better. So I think Jordan might hide in Seth's trunk or in his back seat because we know the crack security team isn't going to do a proper search. Maybe she's going to use him to sneak onto the property. That seems more likely than him being able to convince Nikki to sneak off the property with him. Then again, he is going to show up probably driving drunk, so maybe Nikki sneaks out to drive him home. Either way, this Seth guy is clearly the way that Jordan is going to get her hands on Nikki at the ranch, I believe. Meanwhile, Victor thinks he can use Claire Grace as part of his plan to get Jordan to come at him so he can lure her into his trap. The problem is, I think Jordan might actually be 2 or 3 chess moves ahead of the mustache, and he may not see this coming at all. He didn't know he should be keeping an eye on Seth, or he would have sent the guy out of town to keep Nikki safe. But by the end of next week, Nikki Newman may be in serious danger and in the clutches of a completely psychotic and vengeful Jordan Howard. Hey, please drop your comments and click subscribe if you haven't already, and be sure to come back soon because we are here talking Y&R 7 days a week. And as always, this is Belinda from Soap Dirt.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.